Have you ever found yourself staring into your wardrobe full of clothes, yet feeling like you have nothing to wear? Or maybe you've got some fantastic pieces that just don't fit your style anymore, but you don't want to see them end up in landfill, but you're not sure what to do with them. What about a clothes swap? It's the perfect solution. Today, I'm diving into how to organise a clothes swap. I'm celebrating my 50th birthday and I'm hosting a clothes swap event with some close friends. And I thought I'd go through the process in case there's some of you out there who would also like to organise your own. Let's jump into this Simply Happy conversation. Thanks for joining me for today's solo episode all about tips to organise a clothes swap. As I've said in the intro, I am holding a clothes swap event for my 50th birthday and I've invited 25 friends, which means that there's about 125 pieces of clothing, shoes or accessories to swap with each other. So a clothes swap is when everyone brings their items of clothing that maybe they don't want to wear anymore, it's out of fashion, and we have a location where we all meet and then you swap the clothes with each other. And clothes that maybe don't get swapped can then possibly be donated. So the reason this is so important is the fashion industry is one of the biggest polluters in the whole world. In particular, fast fashion, which is like your cheap disposable clothing that's produced really rapidly by retailers to keep up with the latest trends. And this is usually designed to encourage us to shop regularly by finding new looks, which means that we have to buy more. And as we've seen now that the season isn't just summer, winter, it's like in between, and in between each of those seasons is other little trends that come in as well. A few facts that I found while I was planning this episode is that Greenpeace surveys found that the average person buys 60% more clothing and keeps them for about half as long as 15 years ago. So that's like 2010. And that is how much it's changed, that we are buying more clothing but not keeping it as long. Statistics here in Australia is that we buy an average of 56 items of clothing a year, and we only wear our items of clothing 7 times before we let them go. And most of them are made from non-sustainable, non-durable materials as well. So an average of 23 kilograms of clothing is added to landfill from Australia each year. That's per person. And of the clothing that go to charity, it is estimated that only 15% are resold within Australia. The rest are sent to landfill or overseas to developing nations. A clothes swap is a really great way to change this. And also it gives our clothes a second life. We're also reducing our waste and conserving resources and lowering our carbon footprint. It's like a win-win for your wardrobe, but also for the planet. And it's just a great way to also refresh your wardrobe without spending a cent. And then also maybe discovering those unique pieces that you wouldn't have maybe found in a store, that you can get that inspiration from your friends and their fashion choices. So maybe it's a style you haven't tried before and you've got that opportunity to try in a supportive group. And it's just a great social event for connection and also raise awareness of the textile waste that's going on around us. Now, this is just a really short episode. While I was planning my own clothes swap, I thought it might be really great to just share some tips in case you're thinking of doing one and holding one yourself. So one of my first tips would be to highlight that sustainability aspect of the clothing swap and the reason that you're going to be actually holding one. It's for promoting like a circular economy, but also reducing our waste. The next thing is to decide who you want to invite. So obviously thinking about people who are really interested in waste and reducing their waste, maybe also who are interested in maybe fashion, but not necessarily, and who are open to trying something a little different. You can choose the amount of people that you want to come. So obviously the more the merrier, the more clothes you'll also have, but a smaller group could be really more intimate. When you have more people, you also then have a real diverse range of sizes and probably also fashion choices is something else to keep in mind. You then need to think about where you're going to hold your clothes swap. Is it at your place? Is it a friend's place? Or maybe it's even in your local community, in a hall or a school or a football club, and it's going to be big enough to fit the people you've invited, but also big enough to display the clothes that everyone is going to be bringing. Then thinking about a date and a time. Because my birthday's here in Australia during the middle of winter, I thought it would be a really nice idea. It's a great opportunity to celebrate, but also be inside. I'm not going to be able to celebrate at an outdoor venue because the weather's going to be more than likely raining or at least cold. You next need to decide on the quantity of items each person is going to bring. Between 5 and 10 items is a good amount. I've chosen 5, which, as I said earlier, if everyone brings 5, that's like 125 pieces of clothing. You can also decide whether it's going to be clothing, shoes, accessories, and you need to emphasize that they need to be clean and in good condition, no holes, no rips, and no stains on them. You may even like to extend it out, and it might be they can bring their favorite books as well. Think about those items that your friends all have that may be interested in sharing and making sure that they get a second life. The next thing you need to have thought about is where you're going to store the clothing and items they're bringing. So if they're bringing tops, maybe you have a container or a basket for them, or bottoms and dresses. You may have a clothes rack where you have coat hangers and they can be displayed on there. Maybe it's accessories and you have some sort of necklace tree, or you have a coat or hat stand. Just thinking about how you can actually display the items and so that everyone can see it. So also making sure you have plenty of coat hangers as well as a mirror and a changing area for people to actually try on the clothes. I have gone to the op shop and I have purchased some coat hangers so that I've got enough for 125 pieces of clothing to be able to hang them all up. So I'm thinking about how I can make this sustainable without me having and going and purchasing a whole lot of coat hangers that then I'm not actually going to need. The next thing is to think about the guidelines. So you need to explain the guidelines for swapping. One of the guidelines might be if someone really loves an item, they get first priority. It might be that everyone gets a look first, and then the second round you can select 2 items if you said that they were bringing 5 things with them. And then a third round might be as many items as you have bought with you. So it might be 5 items, you've still got 3 more that you're allowed to go and select from. If you've got 10 items, you might change it, the amount that you're allowing each person to get on their first or second round. And the last thing to think about is music. Also having some snacks. I'm going to be having a meal at the end of my event. It could be afternoon tea, so it might be cups of tea and coffee, or maybe it's even alcoholic drinks. But thinking about that and what you're going to need depending on the actual type of food and drinks that you're going to be providing. So you're going to need plates and cups and things like that and glasses. Again, I went on to Facebook Marketplace and purchased some wine glasses and some champagne glasses because I didn't have enough. I only had a set of 6 and I was able to get enough now that I have 25 for each person to have 1 each. I hope by sharing these tips that you might give it a try and organise your own clothes swap event. It's a beautiful way to connect with your friends, be creative with your style, and also contribute to a more sustainable future. Don't forget to tag me on social media if you do organise your own. And if you'd like to see how one is run, check out mine on social media on Saturday the 23rd of August when I'll be holding my clothes swap event to celebrate my 50th birthday. Thanks for listening to Simply Happy Conversations. Thank you for joining me for today's Simply Happy Conversation. Do you have nothing to wear but a wardrobe full of clothes? Imagine mornings when you jump up, choose outfits that reflect your best self. A comprehensive guide walks you through each step to help you create a wardrobe that's both functional, organised and full of clothes you love. Head to simplyhappy.com.au to the resources tab to get instant access today. I'd like to acknowledge the Wathaurong people of the Kulin Nation on which this podcast is recorded as the traditional custodians of the land. I pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging.